2, 3, 4, 5.
One, two, three, four, five.
This is probably as loud as I could go. This is as loud as it usually gets. But yeah, other than that, I mostly speak around here for most of it. So yeah, should hopefully be okay. I'll move over a little bit to give it a bit more space.
QR code around the stadium or visit our website to donate or sign up. Every contribution counts. The Football New South Wales Men's National Premier League competition is proudly sponsored by Myer, official match ball of New South Wales NPL. Attendees are reminded they are bound by the Football Australia Spectator Code of Behaviour together with the terms of admission of this venue, and any breaches may result in disciplinary action and sanctions.
NPL football on a Saturday night at the Palace, the home of the Marconi Stallions, who are galloping off into the distance in 2025. They sit 6 points clear as they come into tonight's game and a chance of adding another win to what is a great streak that is building in the first half of this season. They'll take on the Wollongong Wolves, who are on the outside looking into the top 6. A win today for Wollongong should get them in there, but they'll travel north today as very heavy underdogs against the consensus and undisputed best side in the NPL New South Wales. Round 14 action coming your way on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. Will Constantinides up in the gantry for you tonight, and it's a pleasure to be here. Always a great occasion, a Saturday night of football at the Palace, and tonight is absolutely no different, and for good reason. These two teams have drawn each other in the same group in the Australian Championship, the inaugural season of our brand new second division. And they'll face off another time in the NPL before another 2 times in the Australian Championship. So this is a bit of a taste of what could happen in a historic inaugural year in our new second division competition. So let's get you straight through the team news without any further delay, starting first with Peter Tsakenis' Marconi. They're building a very tidy lead at the top of the table. 6 points, as I mentioned, off the back of a very nice win streak, and that's included a win 2-1 midweek against Pool AFC in the Cup, which means they'll advance to the next round and aren't too far away from getting to the national stage. They defeated Manly 3-0 away from home last Friday night in a very impressive victory. Jake True, the man that starred, picking up a goal especially, and he's been finding form. He's certainly the man to watch at the moment for Marconi, their new man, and most importantly, he's a former Wollongong Wolf, playing against his former side for the first time tonight. Their lineup goes like this. They make one change, with Cameron Windus dropping out. Liam Yulee is his replacement. Their full 11, number 1, James Hilton. Number 2 is Tyron Burney. 5, Lockie Griffiths. 6 is Dom Costanzo. 8, James Bayliss. 10, Marco Jesic, the captain. 14, Jake True. 16 is Liam Yulee. 18 is George Daniel. 23, Brandon Vella. And 24, the man who scored a cracker last week, Matej Busek. As for the Wolves, well, it's been slightly more difficult for them. A 3-1 loss midweek against Blacktown in the Cup means they've been knocked out of that competition. So it's full steam ahead on the league and trying to get into this top 6. A 1-0 loss away to Spirit on the weekend in the NPL competition didn't do them too many favours, so they come to Marconi in search of a big scalp tonight. And they make just the 2 changes, with James Anagnostopoulos dropping out for Alex Massiavecchio. The other change is in goal, with Ollie Yates, who's been playing number 1 for a lot of the season. A very impressive young Wollongong keeper. He'll be replaced by Daniel Solski. As for the rest of the 11, it's Solski in goal with Harrison Bunal and Banre Kanaizumi at the back. Number 4 is Dylan Ryan. 7 is Woonsub Sim. 17, Marcus Beattie. 21 is Nick Olsen. 24, the man up top, Lockie Scott. 29, Ben Jyson. 77 there, speedy winger Rafael Liai. And then Alex Massiavecchio rounds out the rest of the starting 11. So that's time for kickoff here under the lights at the Palace, Marconi Stadium, playing host to a teaser, an entree of sorts, to the National Second Division, as Marconi will knock the ball around. And they've enjoyed a very good record against their opponents in recent times, as Kanaizumi will have to send that out over the sideline. Marconi with an early opportunity to try and make headway into the Wollongong half. They're a side that likes to score early, Marconi. They're very good at holding on to leads as well. Here is True, receiving the throw off Burney, whipping it in with pace, cleared away by Kanaizumi. Olsen has to flick it around the corner, intended for Scott. Picked up in midfield though, as Jesic's touch was slightly heavy. Has been asked a lot there by Lockie Griffiths, and now the Wolves can get back in control. This is one of a few games that's happening on your Saturday NPL competition. You might have flicked over from Sydney Olympic 4, defeating Sydney United 0. That's a massive result, as Olsen has gotten him behind here, but the flag is immediately up. He finds the back of the net, but an easy call for our officials. The man in the middle today is Kurt Ams, vastly experienced at this level and above. Yulee gets a start in midfield today, Liam Yulia. It's been a hard midfield side to break into for Marconi. Here is True. Looking to cross. Jesic is in there. It's cleared away by Dylan Ryan. And Beattie has to flick it on, intended for Massiavecchio, but it's taken away by Costanzo. And Wollongong have found it difficult on their travels at times this season. Yet to actually pick up a win away from home. Well, it's a tough task for Wollongong. Every game they play is 1 hour plus away from home. As Costanzo tries to whip that in, but that'll be easily claimed. And the first action of the game for Solski. Well, Yates is on the bench, of course, so those two swapping. There's Liai and Bernie. This will be a very intriguing battle between two very fast players, Bernie and Liai. Bernie gets the better of him, though, and takes the space afforded to him. Cuts inside. Bayless. Costanzo checks in off that wing. Lines up a strike from distance. It deflects out to Tyron Bernie. And a tame effort in the end is claimed by Solski. A few eye-catching results over the weekend as well, including Friday night, Rockdale Illingdon and Manly United drawing. As well as St George FC going down 3-0 to the Western Sydney Wanderers, which is a massive result for the young academy side, of course, after that points deduction. And some further down the bottom of the table, so 3 points are more than welcome for Lucy Cardozo's young team. Lovely play by Bunel, and now he can knock it forward for Scott. The Wolves looking to go quickly. Off in midfield by Yulia. It's good screening play as Sub-Sim wins it back promptly. Massiavecchio goes down into the challenge, and a quick whistle from Kurt Adams means that Wollongong will have a nice opportunity here. A few metres in from the sideline. This will attract the attention of Woon Sub-Sim and Nick Olsen. Those two the primary set-piece specialist for Warren Grieve. And Olsen has really been at the centre of a lot of good things Wollongong have done this season. Not just his scoring output, but his creativity as well. And those two men stand over it. So good opportunity here early for Wollongong. Olsen whips it in with that left foot towards Ryan, and he got up well. Decent enough connection on the header, but was unable to direct it away from James Hilton. A nice little flash there from Wollongong. Now it's Marconi who wants to build up. Looking forward for Jesic. It's given away though here in midfield. Lumped forward to Scott. He has to do a bit of hold-up play here. Marcus Beattie takes it and switches it wide for Liai. Tyron Bernie marshals him well, and here is Yuli knocking it down the line. That's going to ask a bit of Jesic, and it'll be cleaned up quite easily by Solski and Woon Sub-Sim. As Kanizumi takes it around. True. Kodam's waves play on. Advantage finishes, and now Marconi can think about attacking. Jesic has gotten in behind, but Solski was quick, and he's got a tough night for him, does Daniel Solski. Don't come too much harder at the moment than Marconi away. Marconi looking to burst forward into the attack is True. Looking for that looping ball to the edge of the area. Bernie has come in off his wing, and now Busek switching it across goal. Good shot there, but unable to get connection with it in the middle as Busek again. Yuli. True makes his move inside as flicks it off. Yes, it gives it to True, and the flag is up. But good play by Marco Jesic. Some nice creativity there to create the pass, and Drew had just made his move a little bit early there. And from our view here in the Marconi gantry, it looked like he might have strayed offside a little bit. Not too many better places to call a game of football from than up here at Marconi Stadium. It is a real jewel in the crown of the NPL competition, and it'd be fantastic to see second division games here, the Australian Championship. Two really historic clubs as well. And Solski goes for distance on the clearance. He's probably touched the ball as much as anyone has on the Wollongong Wolves, and there is Lockie Scott winning his team a big foul. There wasn't really much on for him. He was a lone figure, but he drew Lockie Griffiths into the foul. I have to say as well, while we have a brief moment early in the game, a credit to the two Wollongong Wolves fans that have made their way forward up to the highway to Marconi. I do enjoy very loud, and so may not be large in number, the Wolves fans. Passion to travel cannot be denied, as another foul for Wollongong. Wood sub Sim drawing a loose leg there. So now Wollongong, they won't lump it in, they'll try it. Build out from the back as Kanaizumi fakes to go forward and doesn't like what he had ahead of him. So Woon Sub Sim takes it through midfield. Launching ball out to Dylan Ryan. Good chested control. Cutting back inside. Ryan, edge of the area. Massiavecchio, he can create something. He shoots. Didn't like the look of it as it left his boot, but more positive signs in the game for Wollongong. That half chance from the free kick a little earlier, a few nice moves in the attacking third, and that'll please Warren Grieve greatly. Hilton, Yesic is the only man attacking the ball, but it's to the benefit of Wollongong. Solski goes for distance. We'll get Liai up in the air, but Bernie beats it to him. Here is Busek. Now Marconi can knock it around the back. True makes his move forward, looking to create problems for Kanaizumi. It's going to fall kindly for Jake True here. Has Yesic with him in support. Kanaizumi is out quickly. A tangle of legs in the box. It's all fair, says Kurt Ems. And I'm inclined to agree with him there. There was Kanaizumi and Jake True, two men that would have gone against each other in training a lot over the last few years. I dare say Jake True, whilst he has been in good goal-scoring touch as of late, he's playing against a backline that knows him as well as anyone. Lumped forward by Vela. That'll be catching practice for Solski. So just over 10 minutes gone here at Marconi Stadium, and it's been a very tight contest between these two teams. That's to be expected, really. We know that Marconi are very solid defensively, and they'll take their chances when they come. Wollongong, by comparison, have been hard to really get a draw on. Get a read on, sorry, at times this season. From one week to the next, the performances can fluctuate, as Bernie just ran out of real estate down in the corner, and that will be a Wollongong goal kick. Nothing illustrates Wollongong's inconsistency, quite like their record this season. 4 wins, 5 draws and 4 losses, which is a very even record. They have the most draws of any side in the competition. They did start the season on a handy 5-game unbeaten run, but 3 of those were draws. As Ryan finds Scott. Lockie Scott is tripped up by Liam Yulee, as Marcus Beattie has ideas of a crossfield switch, but it's Well dealt with on the far side by George Daniel. Bunel. Salski goes for distance. The game has been played a lot in this middle third / Wollongong defensive third of the park. Haven't been too many opportunities for Marconi to really test Salski. Granted, it's still early. As Jesic tries to connect off that pass. Beatty, quick passing in midfield, and now Wollongong can burst forward. Here is Olsen, linking up with Scott. Red shirt streaming forward for the visitors. Liai is in a foot race with Hilton to get there. He does beat him to the ball, keeps it in. Liai, floated ball centrally for Scott. And Wollongong have taken the lead at Marconi. And it's Lockie Scott with his head off the back of Raphael Liai on the wing. Did everything he could to keep the ball in, didn't give up on the play, and then Lockie Scott waltzed into the box unmarked. And you cannot give a man like that so much time. And sure enough, he made Marconi pay. And now, how this game might shape up a little differently. We know Marconi do well when they have the lead and when they score first. It hasn't been too many times this season when they've been asked to chase games. But put that all down to the work of Raphael Liai. Him and Scott this season have been a great combination to watch. And it's not been in every game that they've been able to link up effectively, but when they do, they seem to be a perfect match, and that was the case for the goal. Liai with just so much speed to get to the ball when the play looked dead, and the composure to set himself, wait for support to arrive, and then pick out the perfect man for that occasion, Lockie Scott. And now Peter Sekenis' side have a task on their hands. They haven't lost at all this season. Their record at home, 3 wins, 3 draws. All 3 of their draws this season have come at home. It's true, wins it off after pressing. Now he looks forward, and it was intended there for George Daniel. Busek loses his footing. That allows Ryan to intervene. Looking forward for the early ball for Scott. Here is Busek as Ryan. Some good defensive work by the Wolves early here. They've done well to shut down Marconi getting forward, and Marconi might flick into an extra bit of attacking urgency after conceding early as Olsen and Scott link up. Olsen looking centrally for Liai as he tries to win it back promptly, but taken away easily there by Griffiths. I mentioned those travelling Wollongong Wolves fans before. They've come a long way and they've been rewarded so far. A fan favourite of theirs, Lockie Scott. What a servant he has been to this club for so long. He just knows how to score goals. Ryan goes into the air as Bernie digs it out from the corner. No one's up there though for Marconi. Jake True continuing in this number 9 role after last week. He's been played on the wing at times this season with Damien Sekenis starting as a striker a few times. And Jesic just in behind him. Yeah, Marconi throw after a bit of confusion. Opportunity here for Daniel to whip it in potentially. Receives it back off Costanza. Now he lumps it into the box. Up goes Solski. And that's good keeping there. It's exactly the command of the area that he would have wanted. And he continues to have a very busy night. Launched forward. Scott is able to win the first header. And Maciavecchio is hunting there. He's been able to win the ball back in the attacking third for the Wolves. Jason, who has spotted Kanaizumi. Now they can build out from the back as another long ball forward. Up goes Scott, knocking it down here for Liai. Solomon Islands international as he tries to win it back. Of course, Liai coming to the Wolves after a stint in the NPL South Australia. Back to Hilton. Good play around by Marconi. It's inside with Daniel, but they go sliding in midfield. Sub-Sim is going to pick up a booking here. He's going to protest his innocence against Kurt Ams, but Costanza didn't like the look of that challenge. And it was right in front of the Marconi bench. Peter Sakanis is up in arms about that challenge from Woon Sub-Sim. It certainly wasn't the cleanest, and he was very late, made a lot of contact. And despite his protests, I don't think you can have too many complaints about a yellow card from Kurt Ams. So Woon Sub-Sim, their holding midfielder, will have to try and patrol this midfield on a yellow card for the best part of 70 minutes. It's a nasty challenge. Marko Jesic able to get back up on his feet. And so now Marconi will get us back underway. They do trail. If you've joined us late after seeing the score, it was Lockie Scott just over 10 minutes, finding the back of the net after Rafael Liai found him from a nice cross. And so Marconi will have to chase down this 1-0 lead at home if they are to keep the undefeated streak at alive. As a big cry of keeper from Solski, and he's unleashed Liai here. As Lockie Scott left that, Olsen was just a few steps behind him. And Wollongong have shown plenty as the commentators curse strikes, and that pass is broken up. Throwing down the line, looking for Costanzo and True, and now it's in midfield. Costanzo over the top. True is bursting forward into the box. Jake True has a bit of pace. He goes down. And it's going to be a goal kick. Kurt Ams, almost for a second I thought he was going to motion for the penalty spot, but just a goal kick in the end. And I think Kurt Ams may have felt that Jake True went down a little bit too easily there, saying that it was shoulder to shoulder between him and Bunel. A nice flash point there for Marconi. And see, Jake True, when he gets a full head of steam, as I think Wolves will be well aware, when he gets going, he is very hard to stop. As Wolves go long, and as I take a look on the replay, I do think there wasn't all that much in the challenge between the two. Could make the case that there was an outstretched arm, but it doesn't look like there was that much force or significant contact in it between Bunel and True. Nevertheless, Marconi continue. Jason unable to win it back, and Marconi's assault of the Wolves continues. As mentioned, they've only lost once to Wollongong in their last 10 meetings have Marconi. They enjoy a really good record against their opponents. Won both times against them last year. Both were 2-1 wins, home and away. That scoreline is still on the cards if Marconi are able to track this down, but the way the Wolves are playing to start this game, if they continue this, Warren Greaves' side a great chance of handing the league leaders their first loss of the season. Sakanis barking from the sideline for his side to get up defensively and force the issue as Liai turns through midfield. Thought True was with him. Oh, sorry, Scott, should I say. Bayless Scott is there, and that's a rather needless challenge from Lockie Scott, and he knew it. Didn't have too many complaints about that, the Wollongong striker. Bayless switching it out to Vela. Griffiths is there for the recycle, and now they'll keep moving forward as Jesic pass around the corner for Busek, and one is forced away, and here is Solski. Won't be in any hurry to pick this up. I'm not quite sure it's time for the clock running antics just yet, but nevertheless, every second matters as we approach halfway of this first half here in round 14. It's so far so good for the Wollongong Wolves. They would have been heavy underdogs coming into this game, especially with their away record combined with how good Marconi have been. Solski has to do a bit of sweeper keeper work, and he does it well. So it's been a good showing from him. Bernie, Yuli, lovely long switch, and it's going to go right onto the feet of Costanzo. I don't think he could have placed that any better. It's Jason for company, and maybe a Marconi throw deep in attacking territory. Reminder, this is one of 2 NPL men's games happening at the moment. St. George City and Apia also at Penshurst Park. That one locked at 0-0. True. Looking for Busek, who got up, but it was just a little far away from him, and Bernie was there. He might have exposed a bit of space for Liai here. Good pass by Marcus Beattie, and here is Liai. Looks to get around Yuli, and Kurt Ams saying that Liai went down a bit too easily there. And now it's pinched off Jesic. Scott getting to the edge of the area, can line up for his second here, potentially Lockie Scott. Cutting inside, searching for a shooting angle, had Massivecchio with him, but the window to pass or shoot was shut down, and Marconi have given it away cheaply. Massivecchio cutting inside, looking for Olsen, and hooked away from danger by Yuli, but only as far as wound sub sim. The Wolves are in the hunt for the second. Liai crosses, and that's easily taken there by James Hilton. Bernie. Take it forward. True had made his move inside. He goes wide to Busek instead. And there's Busek. And Bernie has to stay on side here. He has. First time cross is good. Looking for True. And Kanaizumi got down quickly, and he had to. Jake True was lurking at the near post, and now the Wolves can think about building a counter here as Jason joins the attack from right back, bombing forward. Olsen, I think he kind of knew there that he had drifted offside. He held his run, but it was too little too late. Ryan just takes that over the sideline there. Bernie. Here's Griffiths. Vela switching it out to Costanzo. Daniel has gotten forward a little bit himself as Kanaizumi heads it, but it's only going to create more danger as it's fallen to the feet of Marco Jesic, and now that's an outstretched leg there from James Bayless. And it was fairly innocent, but you can see he had no real complaints about it. Knew that he had left his leg dangling, and that was going to attract the attention of our referee, Kurt Ams. I do want to go back to Rafael Liai. He has a fantastic story. He's just 21 years of age, but after a stint with Adelaide City last season, he comes to the Wolves. He's a man that's represented the Solomon Islands 24 times. Has a handy goal record as well. Scored 12 times for the national team. And now with the Wolves, trying to put himself in the spotlight. He was offered a trial at a young age with the Brisbane Roar, but due to his age, he was too young to go over. Of course, FIFA regulations mean that if you're younger than 18, you can't sign an overseas professional contract, and so he had to stay in the Solomon Islands for a little bit before then making his move. And with performances that he's shown this season, he could well be a handy asset. I think it's just about the consistency, putting it together on a week-to-week basis. And now Woon Sub Sim and Nick Olsen are standing over this set piece once more. It's 3 in the wall for James Hilton after pushing the back. Drew the foul. I dare say I have to bet Sub Sim will take this one. He was lining up before. And it will be Woon Sub Sim. Puts it over the wall, but over the bar. And there was no real interest from James Hilton on that one. Marconi picking up the pace as they go quickly out from the back as Yuli down the line for True. He's going to be one-on-one here with Ryan. And he defends it well there, the former Melbourne Victory man, Dylan Ryan. Another man that's well-travelled, joining the Wolves, spent time overseas in Liverpool Academy, Dylan Ryan. Solsky is quick to pick that up. Solsky will no doubt launch this one. They haven't gone short, I don't think, at all so far, the Wollongong Wolves, and Lockie Scott has been able to connect, but that time it's picked off by Yuli, and now Jesic tries to get him behind, but he made his move too early as Solsky lumps that one back to his opposite keeper. Ken Izumi is just asking our assistant referee if they can take that offside restart a little bit further forward. And Solsky will no doubt launch this one into the attacking half once more. Ryan wins the header. Sent away by Brusek, but it's only far as Sub Sim, and the second attempt, it's Brandon Vella. Beattie and Ryan's good football by the Wolves, but they're going to have to try and switch out to the other side here. Beattie, the way out is through the back, but they're looking for that now as Ken Izumi. He's taken down here and might have fallen awkwardly there, I think, Ken Izumi. He went down clutching his wrist, and Jake True disagreeing, but nevertheless it'll be a Wolves foul. Ken Izumi here is a bit slow to his feet, the 32-year-old. Long-time Wolves central defender. He's good for a goal or two throughout the year. His Banru Ken Izumi can pop up on set pieces with his height. That's something the Wolves do quite well. They're a good team in the air, as here is Nick Olsen on the edge of the area. Has Beattie alongside him, just left it behind at the vital moment there, Marcus Beattie. And now Costanzo could drive forward. Lost the touch as Olsen had tracked him all the way. Scott, here is Beattie. Slides it out for Jason. And I think he expected Lockie Scott to make his run in behind there rather than checking in short. So just over half an hour going at Marconi Stadium, and so far it's a rather shocking 1-0 lead to the Wollongong Wolves. Shocking not in the sense that they haven't deserved it, but just when you look at the ladder position of these two teams and the fact that Marconi are on a 8-game winning streak in the league, a 10-game winning streak including cup competitions, as well as the Wolves' struggles away from the gong this season. Liai has switched over to the other wing. He has pace to burn here, Raphael Liai, and he could cause some problems. Eventually it's mopped up by Griffiths, and here is Brandon Vella. James Bayless. Through the midfield to True. That's a good pass to Slice. Through the Wollongong defenders. Costanzo. Taken off him, and now True. Liai has pace to get forward here. It's going to cause problems for the Marconi defence. Raphael Liai looking out. I think he might have intended that pass to go back post to Nick Olsen, but it came off the back of Lockie Scott, and that move comes to an end. Marconi will slowly build their way forward. Foul, and Marconi continue. They've definitely had more of the ball so far, have the hosts, and that's to be expected on their home pitch. A better team on form as well. But they haven't really forced Solski into anything major. Most of his work has been fairly regulation so far. And Wolves have had their one major chance and taken it as Ryan slides in to clear away the danger, and he's just about kept that away from being a corner. It'll be a throw for Marconi right next to the corner flag. And so Bernie will be tasked with launching this one into the box. He has some targets to aim for. Yesic and True are there. Here he goes. He's looking for Busek potentially, but it was just over him, and now Marcus Beattie tries to dart forward, trying to force his way through, but that one comes to an end, and Marconi continue to push forward. Switch of play. Busek is up, but Ryan is there also. He's been pretty good so far, Dylan Ryan. He's been asked to do quite a lot. As Scott whips it around the corner. Messi Vecchio takes it on his chest, or takes it on his arm instead. So here go Marconi again. Looking to convert this possession into something substantial. Beattie. He's done well in midfield, Marcus Beattie. His pace has been quite useful at winning back the ball as Liai loses possession. True. Unal beats him to it. And here's Jyson. Knocked around the corner by Busek. Yesic able to get his toes onto it. And here is Olsen. Around the corner, Messi Vecchio, of course, him and Liai have switched wings now. Sub Sim. There's plenty of space to try and pick out the perfect pass. Wound Sub Sim elects to go back towards this left-hand side. Olsen takes it down, but Tyron Burney is right there with him, and now he has a task to try and play his way out of the corner here. Tyron Burney, and they've conceded a corner here, Marconi. And now the Wolves will have a set-piece opportunity. Good one at that. Their first corner of the game. And you can see they're really crowding around the keeper, James Hilton. There's a whole committee of players in the 6-yard box, and now Kurt Ams has to try and do a bit of housekeeping there and make sure there's no unnecessary pushing and shoving. No prizes for guessing where this one will go. Sub Sim stands over it. This will be going right into the 6-yard box, and Kurt Ams is continuing to have discussions in the box. So now here he goes. Sub Sim whips it in, and it's a bit too deep, and away by Marconi, but it'll stay with the Wolves as they try and lump it back into the box. Here is Scott on the edge of the area, has found Olsen. Unable to turn. Scott. Good pass to Olsen. This could be a second here for Wollongong. Tapped in by Liai, but the flag is up. And it was Nick Olsen who strayed offside. And another golden opportunity there for Wollongong. A chance to extend their lead to 2 just before the break, and there was not too much in that offside from Olsen, but he definitely did make his run a little bit early. And Solsky goes forward. Scott is all tangled up with Lockie Griffiths, and now they go over the top. Massiavecchio has gotten in behind for Wollongong, and it's just wide of the goal from Alex Massiavecchio. Another great opportunity for the Wollongong Wolves. They've had 2 big ones in quick succession, and they could well be 2-0 up by now. They found the back of the net through Liai, but that was whistled for offside. And that one there for Alex Massiavecchio. He's been a good goal-scoring touch himself at times this season. And he brings out the backflips when he does score, so that would have been quite the spectacle. And as for Marconi, a few of these chances have started to leak into their defence rather uncharacteristically from what we've seen from them this season. As Costanzo saw that he was offside, so just let that roll away. Solsky just telling his team to really shift over to this left side. He's trying to get his players in the right position. You can see Lockie Scott has won so many headers. I think he's probably won the most headers of any player on the pitch tonight. Dylan Ryan would probably have to be up there himself. He's very hard to deal with, Lockie Scott. Physical presence up top, knows how to hold up the ball, and he's a decent threat in behind as well. As Bernie looks down the line for Jesic, Beatty is on his back. And Jesic, that one just dribbled out of play, and now Wollongong will look to try and catch Marconi out. Maybe with a quick throw, but instead they've opted to slow it down instead. Olsen isn't picked up between the lines. His pass was asking a little bit too much there of Lockie Scott. Kanaizumi dancing along the sideline, the centre back. He joins the attack now himself, and he's got to be careful because Dylan Ryan has given it away, and Busek has switched it out to Costanzo. Costanzo, good speed on the wing. Looking centrally for Jake True. It's flicked up, and it's just about over in the end. Bunel able to see away the danger. Good play by Dom Costanzo. He's so tricky to defend one-on-one, has good speed and good technique. So Costanzo to whip this one in. Numbers in the box here for Marconi. Near post it goes to Jake True, and that is cleared off the line by Lockie Scott. The last play you'd expect to be on the line. A shot skews wide by Liam Yuley, but that cross there from Don Costanzo from the corner, it was whipped in. I'm not quite sure if Jake True had gotten a touch, but he was the man at the near post, and lucky his former strike partner was on the goal line for the Wollongong Wolves because he was there to clear it, and otherwise would have been 1-1 with 4 minutes to go before the half-time break. Kanaizumi. Lofted ball up to Olsen. Now they look to go back down that same line again. It's Marconi who are able to defend it better on this occasion as Busek. Go one-on-one himself. He's joined by 2 Wollongong Wolves. Goes through the legs of Dylan Ryan. And that's an easy call for Kurt Ames as he had one outstretched and Busek's progress was impeded. Bayless to take this one. He waits for Griffiths and Brandon Vella to jog up from the back. James Bayless stands over it. Driven ball towards the edge of the area. It's tapped forward, and the eye can think about building a counter. And Lockie Scott has gotten in behind the defence here. Bernie is giving chase. Still with Lockie Scott. Smart switch out to Olsen, who lines up a shot. And hands behind the back make that easy defending in the end. Great defending there by Kanaizumi. Sorry, Sub-Sim, as Kanaizumi was just behind him as Sub-Sim is on the back of Jesic. Beatty steps in to intervene. And he goes down himself, and I think he was looking for that foul there, Marcus Beatty, but he won it in the end. Of course, a reminder, there's no Anton Milinaric out there, no Cameron Windust. Those two guys have been parts of this Marconi defence, so Brandon Vella has, as well as Griffiths there at the back. Just shows how much depth is in this Marconi team. They've still got very high quality first grade players, even when the likes of Windust or Milinaric aren't starting. Of course, Franco Maya on the bench as well. It's a very tasty proposition. They could bring him on. As Bernie goes down the line. Won by Ryan. Here is Massiavecchio. He's out already before it crossed the line. Right in front of us here. Bernie. Jesic isn't picked up and unable to direct his header towards Jake True as it's nodded down, but only towards Massiavecchio. Here is Scott. Busek, True came back from an offside position, and now there was a late challenge, I think, from Dylan Ryan prior to the offside. Marconi go again. Just a minute remaining in this first half. Still looking for that goal and a big chance at putting one past Daniel Solsky. It's been slim picking so far for the hosts. Yuli looks to take matters into his own hands from midfield. Drives into the box. Edge of the area for Bayless as he chipped it into the area, but unable to connect as Marconi have camped numbers in the attacking half. Ball is whipped in. Jake True is there at the back post, and Dylan Ryan did well enough to keep it out. So Solsky will not be in any particular hurry as we've got confirmation from our fourth official to be 1 minute of time added on. Scott brings it down onto his chest as Liai on that far side goes to Olsen instead, and that invited the intervention of Vella as Costanzo has gotten the other side here of Jason. Coming together there between those two players. It's all fair, says referee Kurt Ams. Here is Liai, able to turn in midfield, but as Yuli on his back, and Marconi are able to win it back here. Chipped forward, that's a good pass forward to Jesic, who gets it to the box, but Kanaizumi able to get between Jesic and the ball. There'll be a foul on Marko Jesic after he went in a bit too heavily there on Kanaizumi trying to score. And I think that might just about take us to the end of the half. Solsky will chew up as much clock as he can. He's trying to get the Wolves to 1-0 at halftime. And so at the break, it's Lockie Scott's goal after 10 minutes. That's the difference. As the Wolves have certainly come to play here at Marconi. And their undefeated streak is in real jeopardy as we head into the sheds for half-time. I've been Will Constantinides with you for the first half. We'll see you back soon on the other side of this quick break.
And that is half time in this one. Wollongong Wolves FC 1.
Dyson joins the attack, switching from left to right of Wollongong as Liai, curling shot in, but that'll be fairly easy work for James Hilton. And this will be a big test of not just Marconi and their ability to come back. We've seen them at times at home this season. They've had 3 draws. All 3 of their draws have been at home. But for Wollongong as well, a side that has been inconsistent at times throughout the year, have taken leads in games, been unable to convert, or have had games where they've had to come back. Of course, as mentioned in the first half, they've drawn the most games of any side in the competition. Over a third of their games have been draws. And if they could pick up all 3 points tonight, they could find themselves in the top 6 by the end of this weekend. It'd be a very good position. Of course, another reminder, this game is a preview of the Group B of the Australian Championship. Both these teams will be playing in that group come the back end of the year. So they'll meet each other again later in the season. In round 29. Then they'll also meet potentially in the finals if you think Marconi will definitely be able to make the top 6 from here. Especially with the way they've been playing. As for the Wolves, that is all up in the air at the moment. Still a long way to go in the season, of course. Next week marks the halfway point, round 15 of the 30-round season. Solski lumps it long, brought down by Lockie Griffiths. Update you as well from the scores around the grounds. Of course, a reminder that St. George City and Apia are also in action over at Penshurst Park in the south part of Sydney as there's a foul. And that one's at halftime, 0-0, and Apia would also be heavy favourites in that game. So 2 Italian sides could be potentially upset in this round as there's a bit of a dispute over the ball. Of course, reminder earlier today, Mount Druitt and Sutherland played a 0-0 draw. 2 teams flirting with the relegation zone at the moment. Both of those teams would have loved to have won that game, but they'll just take a point apiece. No goals in that one. So I think that's our first 0-0 draw of the season. Meanwhile, Olympic with a resounding 4-0 win at Jubilee Stadium against Sydney United. That one is somewhat of an upset. Maybe the scoreline is what catches the eye more than the result. I think Sydney United would have been favourites slightly in that game as Olsen has gotten behind the Marconi defence to the byline. It's cut back here for Alex Massivecchio. One more to Scott, and that's delightful from Wollongong. They've scored early in the first half. They've scored early in the second, and it's that man, Lockie Scott, again to double their lead. And full credit must go to the Wolves there. They showed great patience. Massivecchio especially could have had the shot himself, but squared it up in the end. And it all means that the Wollongong Wolves are 2 goals up away from home. And now Marconi's undefeated streak is in real jeopardy. And again, it's a quality finish from Lockie Scott. It was well set up by Massivecchio. And there's small but vocal travelling contingent of Wolves fans have a lot to cheer about right now. And all started down the wing. Squared up well. And now Marconi have a lot to do from here. They haven't been down and chased games on too many occasions this season. From memory, I don't think they've ever been 2-0 down in a game. And now they have a real task on their hands as Marcus Beattie is bursting through midfield. From what I've seen of the Wolves this season. This has to be up there with some of the best work they've put in all of 2025. There's still a bit to do. They've got the best part of 40 minutes plus extras remaining, so it's not all done just yet. But as mentioned at the top of the broadcast, they haven't won away from home this season, Wollongong. Coming off the back of being knocked out of the cup by Blacktown City. After a loss away to Spirit last time out, Harry Keys scoring his first goal for the club. Spirit, that is. Up goes Raphael Liai. He's able to win the header as Scott was trying to get the first touch on the ball. He knew how important that was, but it's Brandon Vella that takes it away instead as Hilton's ball forward is a bit skewed, and now Massivecchio can charge his way to the top of the box. Wanted Nick Olsen in support with him, but Olsen just held his run. And so how will Marconi respond? They haven't been in this position too many times this season. And now they have some work to do, as here is Costanzo. Given away. Scott beats the first defender. It's the next man up for Marconi. Advantage played after Lockie Scott went sliding in on Griffiths. And then Muley wanted Busek a little bit wider than he was. Olsen dropping it short to Woon Sub Sim. A lovely switch of play by Scott. Here is Raphael Liai. Now Wollongong. They're out hunting other Wolves in search of a third goal, which, considering how difficult Marconi have found it to create quality chances, you'd think a 3-0 lead would be almost insurmountable at this point of the game. 2-0 lead is a very strong one indeed for Wollongong. Sub-Sim, the holding midfielder, to launch this ball into the box. Scott and Scott is in there, as was Bunel. Ryan. Massivecchio turns the corner. Need to get through the Marconi defense. It's turned over though. Here is Jesic. Early ball forward for Jake True. In a one-on-one battle with Kanai Zumi, and the ball just held up on the surface there. That could have been to the benefit of Jake True. Difficult to judge the flight of the ball as Liai, that's roosted up into the night sky. Busek went up for it, didn't come down with it though. Instead it's Marcus Beattie who's got on the other side of him. Oh, it's great from Dylan Ryan. Great composure, but he's beat the first defender, given it away at the second time of asking, and now Lockie Scott has to come into midfield. Jarrison had no choice but to release it quickly under pressure from Marconi. Daniel. Touch was heavy, invited the attention of Lockie Scott, and Liai can make a run forward here. Instead they've switched it out to Olsen. That's going to get to him. Liai is in the box waiting. Nick Olsen crossing it back, and it's cleaned up in the end by James Hilton. Almost spilt it there, Hilton, but he's able to bring it under his control. And now Marconi can make an attack of their own, but it's picked off there by the Wollongong defence. In midfield, there's a bit of confusion, but the whistle hasn't blown. It'll be play on. Switched out by Griffiths. Here is Tyron Burney. Looking to go at Ryan, his opposite fullback. Burney. Marcus Beattie joins over. He's had a very tidy game himself, Marcus Beattie. Ryan with great composure in his own box, but he's turned it over there. A few of these cheap turnovers creeping into Wollongong's game. They'll want to be careful that they don't invite more from Marconi. Meanwhile, there's a heavy collision. This might be a potential head clash. So there'll be a bit of medical treatment needed. This might be a good opportunity to run you through both benches of these two teams as they might come into play a little bit more. For Marconi, they have Franco Meyer, as mentioned. They've got Julian Monge, Jawad Rezai, Damien Sekenis could be a good attacking option as well alongside Franco Meyer. That's a great luxury to have on your bench. And the backup goalkeeper is Patrick Williams, and then they also have number 22, Alexander Kavodzvenovic. Then on the bench for Wollongong, it's Ollie Yates, Darcy Madden, James Adagnostopoulos, Sebastian Duarte, Liam Ball, and Lucas Truchevsky. So it will be a Wollongong throw, but I think they might be inclined to throw it back to Marconi. Instead, they'll kick it back to James Hilton, who will have to scurry across the pitch to get play started again for Marconi. At the moment, it's Lockie Scott's brace. That is the difference. Hilton plays safely through midfield. Man was coming on Liam Yuli's back. It was Marcus Beattie. But he was able to turn past him. Now it's with Busek. A couple of step overs, trying to create some space here for Marconi. Bernie makes that underlapping run. True is in the box. It's floated towards the penalty spot. But Banri Kanaizumi is there, and he's able to clear it away. Marconi still in the attacking third here, trying to get something to go. Into the box. Jesic is up. It's cleared away by Bunal, and Sub-Sim has to get it away. Cries of handball, but it's Marconi who come away with it. Vela lines up, and it was always rising, but it took a deflection on the way through. So it'll be the first corner of the second half here for Marconi. Opportunity here for the hosts. Comeback will need to start soon as we tick towards the hour mark. Delivery is floated and it's deep. Kanaizumi was there to pressure, but it's come off the back of Lockie Scott's legs, so it'll be another Marconi throw. Jesic is over there to deliver it. Jesic launching it in towards True. It's flicked back into the box. There was Bayless unable to connect with it though and get away. Marconi, another wave of attack is coming. Daniel, well read by Lockie Scott defensively. Here is Jason. True. That's another free kick for the Wolves. Another opportunity to reset, and looks like Peter Sekenis will be going to his bench soon. No surprise who he's bringing on. Franco Meyer and Damien Sekenis. Two options to put into this front three and try and jumpstart this attack as they will attempt to track down this 2-goal disadvantage they find themselves in. Damien Sekenis has plenty of goals in him, as does Franco Meyer. Potentially will throw a different look at this Wollongong defence. So it'll be Busek to come off, as well as Marko Jesic.
Substitution for Marconi. Franco Meyer replaces number 8, James Bayless. And number 17, James Sekenis replaces number 10, Marko Jesic.
So this might prompt a bit of a reshuffle from Marconi. Sekenis has gone to the centre of the attack, which I think means Jake True will either be joined with a strike partner, or True might be playing a little bit of a deeper role now. It does in fact look like Marconi are going to line up in some sort of 4-4-2 or 4-2-4. So it'll be Sekenis and True alongside each other at the top of the attack, and then it's Franco Meyer and Costanzo either side of them on the wings as Sekenis tries to bustle his way through the defence, but it's a bit too long. And Solski will exercise a bit of the dark arts to take some more time off the clock. Still plenty of time to go, of course. Marconi, it's certainly a very good double change to bring on when you're chasing a game. To bring on two attackers of that calibre, I'm sure a lot of sides would be envious of the depth that Marconi has, but at the moment it'll be no use if they're unable to get this win. And their undefeated start to the season could come at an end in round 14. Costanzo looking inside for True, who's going to get there ahead of Kanaizumi. That's an important touch to keep the attack going. True has a shot on goal, brought down by Solski, and he almost spilled it onto the feet of Franco Meyer, but he got down quickly there, Daniel Solski, after Jake True was able to find a shooting angle inside the box. It's allowed to bounce by Daniel, and there is Lockie Scott. He doesn't need a second invitation to win the ball in the attacking third, and he's got it stuck under his feet. Him and Griffiths getting all tangled up. And speaking of tangled up, there is a shirt pull from Messi Vecchio on George Daniel. Kanaizumi, touch forward to Liai. Ryan, this is good football by Wollongong. Here is Olsen and Beattie. They move it from left to right through midfield. No foul on Scott, and that means there won't be any advantage. Scott was looking at Kurt Ams asking for something. Instead, it'll be still Wollongong possession. And now here comes a sub for the Wolves. So Lockie Scott will have his number called early. And it's actually wound sub Sim. Thought for a second it was number 24 that was put up of Lockie Scott. Instead, it's actually wound sub Sim that'll make his way off the pitch. Of course, he does have that yellow card lingering over from the first half. Confirmation of the substitution. It is Darcy Madden who makes his way to sub Sim. Signing from the Illawarra Premier League. Wollongong are good for a few of those throughout the off-season. It's a very strong local competition, the Illawarra Premier League. Probably one of the best in the state. Does produce a lot of good players and a good pipeline for the Wolves to dip into as Costanzo hooks that over his shoulder. True and Bunel, here is Jason. Good ball in towards the back post. It's over Hilton, but there's no one attacking it. Liai was a bit late to the party, and it means it'll roll out for a goal kick. Yuli is pushed with the slightest of touches by Lockie Scott, and it was needless, it was careless, and it's not Lockie Scott's first foul, so that will attract a yellow ticket from Kurt Ams. He becomes the second man into the book for the game, the second Wollongong Wolf as well. Joining the now departed wound sub Sim. Costanzo tries to turn down the line, rides the initial challenge of Jason. Now he flicks it into the box. It's come back out. Bayless, lofted ball out to Franco Meyer. Of course, Meyer still making his injury comeback, of course. You can see that strapped left leg. Sekenis drifting inside for the edge of the area, but it's going to be pinched now by Olsen, and it's going to be a straight two on one potentially as Olsen bursts forward. Has Scott alongside him to the right, and that touch is just a little too heavy at the vital moment. And that's easily mopped up by Brandon Vella. But for a second there, Wollongong were racing away with a real opportunity. Meanwhile, down the other end, here go Marconi, Sekenis. Jake True is in an offside position now. He recovers. It's Damien Sekenis. Solski was at full stretch, and he let it go in the end. And the end result is a Wollongong goal kick, but It's starting to become end-to-end stuff here at the Palace. Switch to Costanzo as pace. They like this matchup with him on Jice, and now Costanzo, he can create from this sort of position, lays it off the edge of the area, and it's skewed wide again. A good opportunity for James Bayless, but he didn't quite catch that with his left foot. And I think from the moment it left his boot, he knew. Solsky has been lumping his goal kicks forward as Jice had to go quickly. He knew there was a man on his back, and now Massivecchio is pushed to the ground there by George Daniel, who didn't like the call, but there was an outstretched arm, and I think that gave him away. And now Kurt Amps is telling George Daniel that rather why he gave the foul. It's been some time since the Wolves notched up a clean sheet. 13th of April, back against Sutherland in that 4-0 win. Kanaizumi flicking it around the corner. Cut back into the box. Won by Ryan. High foot, but it continues. Olsen, well, he tried his luck and it wasn't with him there. And Dom Costanzo is trying to get the Marconi ball kids involved. He wanted the ball, and then he saw that his teammates had retrieved it. And so plenty to do here for Marconi since the turn of the half after Lockie Scott's goal straight out of the break. They found themselves down 2-0. They've had a couple of looks on goal, but not too many that have really troubled Solsky significantly. And now he'll just let that one roll out. Wollongong and Warren Grieve are set to make another substitution as it begins to sprinkle a little bit. Open air box up here in Marconi. Can occasionally feel the little sprinkles coming through. Ryan joining midfield, creating an extra number as the left fullback, and that substitution might be coming soon. Referee looks over to Warren Grieve, but he will wait, or he'll do it now. So it's going to be, I think Rafael Liai is making his way over rather slowly. And it's been a good night for the Solomon Islands winger. He'll pick up the assist for the first goal, a good assist at that, a goal that he made himself. And now he will get an early mark because of it, and he will be replaced by Liam Ball.
Substitution for the Wollongong Wolves, number 10, Liam Ball replaces number 77, Rafael Liai.
Kanaizumi will have to chase with True behind him as he sends it over into the stand. So 2 substitutes have been brought on by both coaches. Marconi with the double sub, Wolves with 2 single subs. Plenty more opportunities for fresh legs as this game goes on, as it's one back in midfield by Ball, and now Olsen has gotten the other side of the Marconi defence. Olsen with a chance to make it 3, holds it back, and that's great defending to see him all the way there. Lockie Griffiths had to track him back, and he went to ground taking the risk. And now they look to go down the other end. True has got on the other side here of Banri Kanaizumi as he leaves it for Sekenis. And Jake True has gone down. And I think he's clutching at that ankle there, the Marconi striker. Might have just tripped up as he was pushing himself to get to the ball as Marconi continued the attack. As he's slow to his feet there, Jake True, and they have to worry down the other end. It's quickly becoming end-to-end as Olsen, here is Scott in search of his hat-trick, cutting it back, hoping someone was there at the back post. As Nasivecchio puts his hand up in apology, perhaps recognising that it was him that should have been there. As George Daniel will have to just kick it out of play. And Jake True is still down on the edge of the 18. This is not good news for Marconi. Jake True, who has been in good form as of late, scored of course last week and the week before. And with Damien Sekenis already brought on, that would usually be a like-for-like swap, but they've already brought Sekenis on. Franco Meyer's already been brought on as well. And so now this forces a bit of a test for Peter Sekenis and the extra depth that he has. So a bit of a timeout of sorts for both of these teams just to reset and try and recover as we go into the final moments of this game. It's still Wollongong who look to be in a pretty comfortable position with this lead. Marconi have looked more threatening in the second half and have continued to create problems as the half has gone on, but they've just been unable to really challenge the Wolves fully. Looks like Jake True is hobbling down there. And so for the time being, Marconi going to have to play with 10 until they make the sub. They had thought of making the sub. The substitute had run on, but the referee hadn't called for it just yet. So it means that Jawad Rezai will now enter the pitch. And now I think the Marconi ball kids will be very, very busy, knowing that their side are in a bit of a hurry to try and retake the lead in this game, or even just get a goal and start this comeback. Time is running out. Sekenis is lining up for a half shot, half cross. Instead it falls out to Liam Bewley. Scott is pressuring him. Of course, Scott is on a yellow card, and now Wollongong can think about breaking. Olsen has pace to challenge Griffiths. And it's Griffiths again who has put in a good shift in this second half, especially with Wollongong looking dangerous on the counter. And it's an unforced error at the back by Marconi, which means Wollongong will have another good opportunity. Up goes ball. Beattie in midfield. Ryan hooks that up, and Olsen, I think, knew he was in an offside position. Beattie brings it down, but it's Costanzo who is sniffing around. He's now in midfield with Rezai on the wing. So it's Yuli and Bayless as the holding pair. Meanwhile, they'll have to defend. And then Costanzo just ahead of them with Rezai. As Meyer goes down, but he's able to win it back. It's taken off his toes, though, by Marcus Beattie, who's having a great game in midfield. Beattie. And now he will hold up the ball in the corner. And he's won his side a handy throw there, Marcus Beattie. Time's certainly the friend of the Wollongong Wolves right now. Looking for that first away win of the season. Ryan. Lucky Scott was offside there. That'll be a frustrating end to that attack by Wollongong. There was much need for him to be in an offside position. Vela. Well read by Massiavecchio. The pass was telegraphed, and now he can try and take it forward and get the other side of Liam Yuli. Those two are in a physical battle, and Massiavecchio had just used his arms a little bit and pulled back Yuli illegally. Razai, so Daniel has Razai ahead of him. Scoops it over the top. Jason on his back. Good burst forward by Bayless as they have to concede the corner there, Wollongong. Second set piece of the half for Marconi. Costanzo stands over it. His delivery has been good. In it comes. It's towards the back post, and again, it's a little bit deep on the delivery. It's been a couple of times now for Marconi where some of these set pieces have been overhit and have not really created too much from their perspective. And Solski is barking out at his team, getting them to shift over. The Wollongong Wolves are hoping to hold on for what would be a massive result. Solski sends it forward. Up goes Meyer with Ryan. Instead it's Olsen's feet that it finds. Beatty continues his industrious work in midfield. Olsen on the wing. Flicks it around the corner for Ryan. They will try and sort themselves out on the wing here, but there's too many blue shirts in their way. And now Dylan Ryan has exposed that flank as Sekenis goes down in back play under a different challenge, and Kurt Ames had spotted it. And Sekenis was able to draw his side a good foul in a good position. And for those of you who are joining us late in this second half after seeing the score, it's Lockie Scott's brace that has the Wolves ahead, and Bunal will pick up a yellow card. Joins Lockie Scott in the book after a foul on Sekenis in back play. Another sub is on the way for Peter Sekenis, should I say. Marconi in search of a goal. Baylor stands over it, puts it into the box. It's well connected. They found Lockie Griffiths, but he had drifted offside at the back post. And a golden opportunity for Marconi is denied by the offside flag. He didn't quite make the connection there, Griffiths, but that was a great opportunity, nevertheless. And Solski again will launch this one forward, ticking into the final 10 minutes here at Marconi Stadium. The Wolves are holding on for now with this 2-0 lead. Doesn't quite get good enough connection on that, as he might get a second go at it here, Solski. Hasn't taken any chances with it rolling into the box as Vela back in midfield. Oh, it's given away rather uncharacteristically by Darcy Madden. Now Bunal has to run back to chase. The ball holds up for Gerard Razai as he will press in the corner. Scott. Great pass down the line. Ball is bursting forward. Liam Ball is all on his own. Has Liam Yuli for company. And the referee on the near side, our assistant, flagged for the foul. This gives Marconi a temporary reprieve as they'll go quickly again. Good turn by Marcus Beatty, who tracked all the way in midfield, and he almost gave it away there under pressure from Dom Costanzo. And there'll be a goal kick, which means it's more time off the clock for the Wolves. This 2-0 result looking very, very likely at this stage, which would be a first win against Marconi since all the way back in August 2019. It's been a long, long time since the Wolves have beaten Marconi. Marconi have lost just once to the Wolves in their last 10, but that result is in serious jeopardy right now. Wolves go down the line. Olsen is there. He's been able to ride the challenge. Nick Olsen is going to bear down on goal with a chance to make it 3. He cuts it back. Scott for the hat-trick. And Lockie Scott was teed up by Olsen. Smartly left by Massiavecchio. And a perfect attacking move for the Wollongong Wolves pays off. And it's the hat-trick hero, Lockie Scott, which means it's surely all points heading down south for the Wolves. For not just their first away win of the season, but potentially now Marconi's first loss of 2025. That was a gorgeous move by the Wolves, probably the best goal they've scored, and they've saved it for last. I thought for all money there, Massiavecchio was going to shoot. Either he had the wherewithal or the shout from Scott behind him to just leave it. And Lockie Scott with another great finish from close range. As I said, those Wollongong Wolves fans, they're small in number, but they have travelled. And they have been duly rewarded for their travels today. This is going to go down as one of the results of the season from the Wollongong Wolves. When I drove into Marconi Stadium today, this is something that I certainly did not expect. As mentioned, the last time the Wollongong Wolves beat Marconi was in August 2019. It was a 1-0 result on that day. The last time they beat Marconi at the Palace was also in 2018. It was a 3-0 on that day as well. And they look set to repeat that, but 6 years since they have beaten Marconi. And to beat this Marconi side as well, in the form they are in right now, is no small feat. And to do so in such a convincing manner, as Yuli will take his rest. As Peter Sekenis will move the magnets once more. It would take a real miracle from here from Marconi, but I think everyone who is here, including myself, including you watching at home, are in awe of what is happening here at Marconi Stadium as Rezai tries to spark a bit of light into this team. It's teed up, a good save by Solski, a good shot that came his way from Griffiths. And Daniel Solski, who has come into the team today for Ollie Yates, who has been good mostly throughout the season, the young keeper, is on the way to their first clean sheet in a few games. I think just at every turn, Wolves have had an answer for Marconi on both ends of the pitch, really. Defensively, they've looked solid. Solski has been superb when needed. And on the other end, Lockie Scott has been given 3 chances and he's taken 3 goals. And 3 good chances as well. All 3 times he has been unmarked. The first a header, the other 2 from cutbacks. And a man of Lockie Scott's quality needs no invitation. He notches up his 9th goal of the season. He had 6 coming into today. And I dare say Lockie Scott, who, in terms of how confident strikers are, Scott would be up there. I don't think even he would have seen himself scoring 3 against this Marconi defence. This is the best defence in the competition, Marconi, coming into this game. They'd only conceded 7 in their opening 13 games, which is half as many as the next closest side. So it's as good as any side has done this season against Marconi. try and throw numbers forward here, the hosts, but it's going to be a big, big ask from here. Interestingly, for Marconi, they haven't conceded more than 2 goals all season. The most they've conceded in a game is 1. And they've given up 3 to Wollongong here. It is simply remarkable what has happened here today. Warren Grieve and his coaching staff, along with his players, will be feeling very, very chuffed about how this game has shaken out. To score 3 against a side that has conceded 7 before this game in 13. No more than 1 in a game is a real upset in every sense of the word. We've had some big upsets throughout the season, but I dare say this will be probably the biggest of them all. As Bernie tries to deliver it into the area, but it's blocked away. As Olsen can go forward, as Marconi have committed numbers forward here, and Olsen has the attacking intent to get forward on the attack. Broken up in midfield by Julian Monge, who's entered the game as they go over the top, intended for Rezai, but he was already offside. As there's just a couple minutes remaining now that separate the Wollongong Wolves from a massive result. And in the context of this being their first win against Marconi in 6 years, probably one of the biggest results in a regular season game in recent memory. Of course, with the Australian Championship on the horizon as well, could the Wolves potentially be a bit of a bogey side for Marconi? They'll meet at least another 3 times this season. And I think after this result, Marconi will be very wary of the threat the Wolves possess. And they've shown glimpses of being a really good side throughout the season, Wollongong. It's just been the inconsistency, not even from week to week, but even within games, that has cost them. But they've put in a thoroughly professional full 90 as Solski scuffed his clearance, but it was dealt with initially. And Sekenis, check of the shoulder from Meyer. He knows he has time, and now he'll play it forward back towards Sekenis, and another frustrating end to the attack for Marconi. I think that summed up their night, really, the hosts. They've been huffing and puffing throughout the game. They've had majority of the ball. They spent a lot of time in Wollongong's half, and now Daniel Solski gets the customary yellow card for goalkeeper time wasting. But they've just been unable to find a way through this Wollongong defence. Kanazumi, who's shifted forward himself now as Olsen goes down under contact, as Scott is going to go quickly here. I thought they might have considered taking some time off the clock there, Wollongong, but they've had thoughts of getting a 4th goal. Of course, they scored 4 against Sutherland a couple of weeks ago. But this Sutherland defence and the Marconi defence are 2 very different propositions. And so Wolves are perhaps sensing a bit of blood out there. They can really pile the misery on, not that they haven't done so already. Bernie getting to the byline, looking centrally for Rezai, and up goes Solski. That's good goalkeeping there under heavy pressure. Here is Beattie now as we tick over into the 90. Confirmation from our 4th official as to how much time will be added on. I dare say it'll be a little bit, but not too much. And now there's a bit of afters here over on that far side between Bernie and I think Dylan Ryan. And you can sense it's been a frustrating old night for Marconi. I think it's only going to be 2 minutes of time added on. And now Kurt Ams has a bit of work to do in cleaning this all up. And So it will be 2 minutes of time added on, which I think is great news for the Wollongong Wolves. Even for Marconi, I think the result is now basically a done deal. I think in terms of individual performances, this has been as clinical of a goal-scoring performance by any player this season from Lucky Scott. I know Ali Gurashevsky has put in a fair few himself, but he really has had just the 3 chances, Lucky Scott, and he has put them all away. But they've been exceptionally created as well by his teammates. Take no credit away from them. Rafael Liai with the first, and Massivecchio and Olsen in combination with the third there. Massivecchio won't be credited with the assist for the 3rd goal, but his fake and his awareness to leave the ball for Scott, knowing that Marconi had committed their defence to him, and knowing that Scott was in a much better position. I wouldn't blame any player for wanting to shoot from his position as Kanaizumi switches it out. Kodam says no to the handball as Massivecchio darts his way through midfield. Now he's got Lockie Scott, who's drifted wide to receive. Another double sub is waiting in the wings here for Warren Grieve. He'll make it now, and this will chew up some more clock. And so it will be Bunal, who's held down this defence well alongside Banri Kanaizumi. And Lockie Scott will take his leave as well. A deserved 1 minute early mark for a man that has worked tirelessly all night, and he'll be the hat-trick hero down south. And all the Wollongong Wolves fans, whether they're in the stands today or whether they're watching it at home, will be very, very happy with how their main man up top has played, and they have every right to be. It has been thoroughly professional performance by Lockie Scott, not just with his goals, but he has really been everywhere. He saved the goal himself in the first half when he cleared a corner off the line, and that was when the game was just standing at 1-0. So how different things would have looked had it not been for that. And I think that will go as one of the unspoken, or rather underrated moments of this match from Lockie Scott. His 3 goals will put himself up in lights, but the ability to save a goal as well as a striker is just as important. And so Kurt Ams draws full time here at the Palace. A massive result for the Wollongong Wolves. Their first away win of 2025, powered by Lockie Scott's hat-trick, will also mean an undefeated streak comes to an end for Marconi. It's been fantastic work from them, which has included 8 wins on the bounce to this point. But it comes to an end here at home at the hands of a very efficient performance by the Wollongong Wolves and Lockie Scott. It has been a fantastic game from start to finish, and full credit to Marconi. Even with this result, the gap they've built at the top of the table means that they'll still be 5 points ahead, pending that result from Blacktown City tomorrow. But that's for Marconi. Force a bit of self-reflection from them, but for Wollongong, it'll be all celebrations as they head back down south. An absolute pleasure to call this one for you on the Football New South Wales YouTube channel. We've got more games coming your way tomorrow. I've been Will Constantinides here at the Palace, and we'll see you back soon for more NPL action.